Hey class. As y'all know, there's no lecture for today. What I wanted to discuss today was your final project. Okay, your week 13 .r file, that's still due this Sunday night at 10 p.m. as usual. Okay, and uh, but that's what was assigned Tuesday. That's all you need to turn in. Okay, and vis-a-vis today's lecture, like I said, we're just going to talk about what I expect on your final project. I've provided a link to this file on Piazza. Okay, and you can use this document basically as your guideline for what you need to create. I've tried to be very specific with it. Everything that I expect from this project is written in this document. Okay. So first and foremost, it's due 3 weeks from now. Okay, Sunday, April 26th at 10 p.m. Okay. You're just going to submit it via Piazza. Only one submission is required per group. Okay, so what does the project involve? It really is just to give you another chance to practice all of the skills that we've learned this semester and to kind of put these different modeling techniques side by side and to, really just kind of give you a sense of the big picture, by comparing, the advantages and disadvantages of each of these models that we've been discussing. Okay, so to start off with, you're going to pick a data set. The data set must have at least 1,000 observations. It must contain at least 12 unique variables. It must pertain to a social science topic broadly defined. Okay, and this is important, it must not be a data set that we've already used in this class. You guys just select a new data set. Okay. Um, uh, it does not have to come from the large list that we've been using, the one that's compiled by Vincent Ariel Bundock, but it can come from that list if you like. Okay. Now, very important, each group must meet with me at least once before you turn in your project, so I can make sure you guys are on the right track. This participation in this meeting is not optional. It's part of your grade. Okay. Sign-ups are next week. You can sign up for a time slot here. I've provided the link in the document. Okay. Also, I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the class. I'm going to be asking each of you guys to rate the participation of your group mates on a scale of 0 to 100. This will obviously be an anonymous, I mean, it won't be anonymous. I'll know who you are, okay? But I obviously won't share these results with your group mates, okay? But you'll be asked to rate the participation of your group mates on this project. And I'll be sending out basically a survey link to do that later on, okay? Okay, so then this next part, this rubric, okay, this is a guide to really what you need to submit. There are two files that you need to submit. You need to submit a .r file, which obviously contains the code that you're using to do everything, and a written paper, preferably a Google Doc, which discusses your findings. This written paper also needs to contain like a copy of all of your results from the .r analysis. So for example, if in the .r analysis you create a graph, just, you can copy and paste that graph over to this paper, or save the graph and insert it, however you want to do it. Okay, but the paper needs to contain all of your results, almost like a report. So somebody who's reading your paper can kind of see the results and know what you're talking about. Okay, so let me briefly go over this rubric. Okay, what I have sort of the requirement for the .r file listed first, and then I have the corresponding part in the paper italicized. Okay. Now, this might seem like a long list to you, but really it really is just everything that we've been doing so far in the class. So there shouldn't be anything new. Hopefully there won't be anything confusing on this list. It's just everything that you've seen before. Okay. So number one, obviously, choose a variable to be your dependent variable of interest and state why. Number two, select at least 6 independent variables. I mentioned that the data set needs to have at least 12 independent variables, so select 6 of them and study their effect on the dependent variable. Now justify your selection of these variables, okay, in the paper. Don't just randomly say, we just randomly chose 6 variables. Why did you think that these were the ones that ought to be the ones to look at? Okay. Now, at least one of these 6 independent variables must be one that you create, okay, likely from some other variables in the data. And I want you to state why you created the variable in the way that you did, okay? And then we're simply going to apply all 4 of the models we've been looking at in this class. Those models being regression, okay, so either an OLS or logit, depending on whether or not your dependent variable is categorical, okay? A decision tree, a random forest model, and an artificial neural network. Okay, so I'm not going to go in detail as to each one of these talking points. You can just read them yourself. Okay, but basically you're going to be computing for each model. You're going to be computing, running the model, computing the in and out of sample accuracy, just like we've been doing, computing some results for variable importance, just like we've been doing. Okay, and then just commenting in the paper, commenting on all of those things. So just go over this rubric and read it carefully. Okay, when I grade this project, I'm basically just going to be checking off the things on this rubric and making sure that you completed them. Okay, so yeah, so I would say, again, just refer to this rubric for everything that you need to know. If you have any questions, you can approach me at that meeting or see me anytime during the online office hours. I'm hoping that, by doing this project, which really sort of puts everything together, it's going to really help solidify or make more concrete, what we've done in this class. You're going to be able to take stock, essentially, of the different skills and techniques that you've learned over the course of this past semester. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to everybody, and I'll see you guys next week at the meetings. All right, stay safe.